So hello guys, it's Downshifting Kiwi here today, and today we're going to do an oil change on my SV650. So this is kind of, well, not really a how-to video, but you can use it as that if you want to. So I'm just using Castrol Power One GPS. It's a good oil. I got recommended it by a buddy, and he's got 3 motorbikes. He's always put this oil in it, and all his motorbikes have done over 100,000 Ks, and they're still running mint. So I trust this oil. You're going to need a couple of crush washers here, oil filter, a new one. You should always change the oil filter when you change your oil, in my opinion. Some people don't. So I change my oil every 5,000 Ks. So on here it will say 45,000, so I'm just going to start from there. And you're also going to need a 14mm socket and one of these bastards so you can undo the sump plug. So the first thing you're going to have to do is let your bike warm up. So I'm just going to let it idle for a little bit and then take it for a few laps around the block. And you guys can roast my chicken strips too if you want. Pretty bad ones over here. And also the TW is for sale, so I don't want to sell it, but I'm going to be a student next year, and as you know, being a student is expensive, so this bike's going to have to go to pay for like student stuff. So it's going to be sad to see it go, very, very sad. But if somebody wants a really nice bike, you can friggin' buy this for 1,500 bucks. So I removed the sump plug using a 14mm socket, and the oil's been poured out into this pan here. It looked really clean in what's coming out, and it's got a little magnet on the top of the sump plug, and it was pretty much had no material on it, so that's good. It means my shifting's been good, so my clutch ain't getting worn out. This is the old crush washer. You see how skinny that is compared to the new one. So this is soft malleable metal, and it provides a seal between the sump plug and the bottom of the oil sump, which is still dripping out, so I'll leave that for a little bit longer. You've got to remove the oil filter, which is on here, and these should just be done up kind of finger tight, because as soon as the gasket on the filter touches the metal, you should only do like half turn to a full turn, and that provides a good enough seal so it doesn't leak. Sometimes the dealerships do it up really tight, so a little tip I've got here: get an old inner tube and simply wrap it around. If you don't have a wrench, of course, and it gives you a bit of grip, and it usually means you'll be able to remove it. So I'm not going to remove it fully, but you can see I'm doing it. I've just got to wait for it to stop dripping, so then I can move the oil pan underneath the filter, so I don't make a bloody mess. So that's a little tip: get an old inner tube if you don't have a wrench. I forgot to say that before you remove the sump plug from the bottom, you should undo the filler cap so it doesn't cause a vacuum, so you got airflow going into it, so the oil can drop out faster and more efficiently. So I've got myself a little funnel here with a filter. I'll give that a clean, and a jug. So I put the new crush washer on with the sump plug, just finger tight for now, so then I can undo the oil filter properly. So I'll do that. Remove the oil pan underneath it and just undo it by hand. There we go. Let that drain for a bit and loosen it more slowly. Oil still falling out. There we go. So let that fucking drain a bit. If you want to, you can pull this apart and inspect it, but I don't think I'm going to need it because the sump plug magnet was so tidy that I'll be happy with how it is. Even this here, you just dispose of properly. Don't just fucking chuck it on the side of the road or some bullshit. So yep, just let that fucking drain out a bit more, 10 minutes or so. New vs old. This old, as you can see, it gets crushed quite a bit. While you're waiting, just clean your oil jug and clean your funnel. So this next part is actually quite important. So what you want to do is remove that plastic film from the new oil filter, and with the cap of the new oil bottle, just dip your finger, make sure your finger's clean of course, dip your finger in the new oil and just rub it around the rubber seal, and that just helps it provide a better seal and helps prevent any oil leaks. So make sure you do that, it's quite important. I've put the new oil filter on, so remember that when this rubber gasket here, or seal, touches the metal on this, as soon as it touches, do 1.5 turns. That's what I do anyway, and that's going to be snug enough. It's not going to friggin' leak, so it's good. And then after that, I'm going to clean that area a little bit better and then tighten up that sump plug, and then it'll be time to drop the new oil in. So what I did here was I put the funnel here, poured the new oil into this jug, which is a 1 litre jug, and then I did 2 lots of 1 litre and then 300 mils, and I just slowly poured it into the funnel. And then once I finish that, you're going to look at this window glass here, make the bike level so it feels weightless, and as you can see the top of the oil line is right at the top of that full line, so that's pretty much perfect. So that should be mint. So I put 2,300 mils in it, which is what it says right here. Once you've added all the oil, put the filler cap back on it, inspect it and maybe give it a clean, but this is pretty much perfect, so no need. And then just give it a run. And when you run it, pretty much just leave it idle for the first while, so the oil can cycle through, get everything lubricated again. Don't do any hard revving, because the oil is going to be cold too. You got to remember that. The engine may feel warm, but the oil is going to be cold. So that's it today. That's just the oil change on the SV650. I do it every 5,000 Ks. I might actually start doing every 4,000 Ks because I want to get about 150,000 Ks out of this bike. I want to try to keep this beast forever, so I'm going to take good care of it and keep on top of my oil changes, because it's the #1 thing you need to do to keep a bike for a long time.